Welcome to another Vibrant Music Teacher Chat. This is the weekly show for you if you're a music teacher who wants to teach more creatively and keep up with the latest goings on in our industry. So every week you can join me here, same time, same place, every Monday, where we're talking about fun stuff that's coming up for music studio owners and teachers, the latest news around our industry, and web reviews of a couple of specific websites so that you can learn more about marketing, and a special topic each week. And this week, we're talking about playing by ear. So, do you teach this? Tell us in the comments. Do you teach your students to play by ear, or are you purely a notation-based teacher, or have you dipped your toe in the water but it's been a little bit tentative and you're not quite sure about your approach? We would love to hear from you, whatever your background is in this area. If we are just meeting, hi, hello, my name is Nicola Canton. I am a piano teacher over in Dublin in Ireland, and I run a site called Vibrant Music Teaching where I help teachers to teach more creatively, to have more fun while doing it, and to create lifelong musicians out of your students. So this is where we find the balance in music teaching. It's not about a ton of different ideas. It's not about saying you must be perfect. It's about finding our own balance and making it all work for you. So if you are new here, I'm delighted to meet you, and I'd love to properly meet you. So say hi in the comments. Don't be shy. We do not bite here at all. We're a very friendly bunch. On this channel in general, I provide tutorials and ideas for music teachers. So if you are brand new here, consider liking this video and subscribing so that you remember to come back to us later. We would love to see you here back again. Right, let's dive into the latest news inside the industry. So, my biggest news for you coming up this week, we have the December Advent calendar, which I'm calling the 2020 send-off, because I believe we need to let this year go with some grace, yes, and some maybe a little bit of good riddance, but also some fun. Don't we all just need to have a bit of fun? Say in the chat if you think fun is in order right now. Yes? So this Advent calendar is pure fun. No, you don't have to celebrate Christmas to come along. No, it's just a bunch of Santas, right? Okay, as long as you can deal with Santas, please come along to the Advent calendar. It is open to everyone. It will be going from 1st of December all the way up to and including Christmas Day. Not that you have to check it on Christmas Day, but it might be a fun thing to do in the morning. I promise it will be pure silly fun on that day. I won't make you think about work. But we definitely need some fun. Yes, Elaine and Karen and Elizabeth and Cindy and Charlotte, you all agree with me. I love it. So here's what I promise you with the Advent calendar. Pure fun. Some surprises and goodies along the way. Some things to make you think a little, but nothing to stress you out at all or make you feel any guilt for anything you have or have not done this year, okay? That's not going to happen in the Advent calendar. So it's called the 2020 Send-Off. So the link for it is at vibrantmusicteaching.com/2020. Just the numbers 2020. I really suggest that you bookmark this link. Just save it in your browser right now. Type it in a separate tab maybe. Save it in your browser and come back to it every day. The deal with the Advent calendar is it's like an actual Advent calendar in that there's just one day for each day. What I mean by that is if you come on the 2nd, you can't open the door for the 1st. And, that's how Advent calendars work. If you don't open your door on the 1st, well, at least in my household, that chocolate is gone. I should explain. Maybe some other household, you had your own Advent calendar. I was assuming everyone was like me for a second. But no, we had to share. We had a shared Advent calendar. And the time when I most remember it, it was down to just me and one of my brothers. But I do have 4 brothers, so it's a big house. It's understandable why we had to share things. and me and my brother had to alternate days. And he always said that I could go first. Does anyone want to guess why he said that I could go first? Remembering that this was a traditional advent calendar, it went up to the 24th, it didn't include the 25th like our VMT one. Tell me why you think my brother graciously, older brother, keep that in mind, graciously said, "Oh, you can go first, Nick." Or Nick, he would have said. "You can go first, Nick, no problem." Have a guess. That's just a side note though. Make sure to bookmark that link, and my brother will not be there to steal your chocolate if you don't show up, but the thing won't be there the next day, so you have to show up. It'll all be gone. Okay, and the first day is extra special, so I wanted to mention that. Make sure you show up at that link on Tuesday, the 1st, because that's a special day to kick it all off. It's something really, really fun. And then there's some gifts and some funniness and some extra giveaways and other fun goodies all along the way. So that's my big news that I think you should all be aware of this week is fun, 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 fun. The other thing that's going on with me is I've been working on the 2020 Vibrant Music Teaching Industry Report. And it's been really interesting. I finished it off this week. Sarah from the team was proofreading it. We've been putting it together on the site. It's going to go out a week from Sunday. So it's in about 11 days. No, I can't count. 13 days. Just under 2 weeks. It's going to be going out to you guys. And I'm really looking forward to getting it into your hands. But I wanted to remind you that if you're not a VMT member, if you're not a member of Vibrant Music Teaching, you're going to want to grab the 2019 report right now to make sure that you don't miss that one, because that's going away once the 2020 replaces it. Now, if you are a VMT member, don't worry about it. Both of them will be in the library because we have the download section there. So no worries at all, but I'm really looking forward to getting that into your hands, seeing what you think of it. That was towards the start of the week though. My big news was or my big things that I was working on all week was a course for next year, which is all about playing by ear as well. So the two themes just happened to align this week. That wasn't planned in terms of my workflow, but I've been in playing by ear mode constantly for the past week, and I've done a huge amount of work on that course, which is going to be in March of next year. So that's going to be a really cool one where we're working on building up layered tunes by ear. That's the hint I'm going to give you about that. Some other things from around the web then. I don't think I remember to mention this last week. So if you haven't checked out Wendy Stevens' blog recently, it's the 20th year of Compose Create, her business, and her writing music under that writing music. And so they're giving away an awesome piece. It's called Party Day, and it's really fun. It's just so fun. It's like an intermediate piece, and it's about how every day is a party. So I just think it fits in with our whole fun theme today. And yeah, I just think it's a great fun piece. So make sure to go grab it. It's totally free. Awesome present from Wendy. We're going to be looking at some of Wendy's music on the YouTube channel here in 2021. We're going to do a review video of some of that. Laurie, thank you for the camaraderie there. It's days. I'm actually really good at maths, except days. Just mess them up every time. I just have accepted that about myself. Yes, Carrie, you are right. If he let me go first, the 24th was always the biggest day with like 3 chocolates in it instead of 2, or instead of 1, or or it was a bigger window. But we had a fabric one that my mum made and she filled with chocolates, and yes, there were extra on the 24th. Once she realised what he was doing, of course she fixed the situation and made us share the 24th, so then he was cheated out of a day. So, super fun. Having 4 brothers. Okay, last 2 bits of news from around the web. First of all, if you are a VMT member, make sure you check out the Lead Sheet Level Up. That just came out this time last week. And it's a great course for your students working on lead sheets and playing by ear type of skills. And then we just released a freebie Google Slides game. So I have to give credit to Sarah from the team for pointing it out to me that we had never had a taster game, because we've some free games up on the blog which give people a sense of what our games are like inside Vibrant Music Teaching, but we never thought to put out an on-screen one since we started doing that since we're all on screens all the time, right? So we have Google Slides versions of our games inside Vibrant Music Teaching on tons of our games now. But we didn't have any as a taster on the site. So we decided it would be an awesome Christmas present to everyone, including our members, of course, to convert Reindeer Race, which was our free game gift last December, to Google Slides. So you can now, if you're a member, you can grab that on the Reindeer Race page as always, and it's tagged with screen options so you can filter it in the library. If you're not a member though, you can just Google Reindeer Race. I bet it will show up. If it doesn't, then Reindeer Race Colourful Keys, and you'll find the post there. And yeah, there's now an online version. So if you just fill in your details to get the download email as usual, then there's also a link that we've included to copy to your Google Drive so you can play it on slides. And along with that, I released a video here on the YouTube channel which shows you how to play a game on Zoom with Google Slides. So if you're not sure about that and you want to check that out, go for it. You're welcome to do that with other games. You're welcome to make your own games and play them that way, but it'll also work for our Vibrant Music Teaching games. So that's a great fun little Christmas present that we decided to give out to everyone. Of course, early, because if we gave it out at Christmas, you wouldn't have any time to play it with your kiddos, would you? So it had to be end of November to be in time for that. Anna, you're super welcome. I hope you love playing it. And I'm definitely going to be playing it at my group lessons too. So yeah, just search for Reindeer Race Colourful Keys and it should show up. Okay, so aside from the 2020 sign-off, some other stuff we have coming up. The Tanara Expo, I wanted to give another quick shout out to them. So that is coming up on the 18th and 19th of December. And if you haven't got a ticket yet, super affordable, but you can also get a discount code from me if you want to make it even more affordable. It's going to be a great 2-day event with tons of different topics. I'm speaking about creating grittiness in students, so having students that are stick-to-itiveness, and I think that's really important right now in this online world, because teachers have been telling me that it's grinding down their students' ability to be determined with tasks. So I think it's important now more than ever. But there's tons of other great topics. So it's not just about me. I hope you'll come along. You can grab the discount code members. It's in the forums, in the news section. Or if you're not a member, it's on my Instagram. If you just check there, you should be able to find the post. Just scroll down a little bit. So yeah, I hope you'll join me there. It would be awesome to have you in the audience because you're such a great part of the audience here, right? And I would love to have you in the chat. There is nothing more miserable than giving a presentation and having no one in the chat. Just FYI. So I hope that you'll be there. But I also hope that you'll be there for yourself because I think it's just going to be a great way to round off the year and get some new inspiration and new ideas to take you into 2021. Yes, Karen, I have a video. It's almost published. There was just a glitch with the video recording, annoying thing. But yeah, it is prepared where I show how you would do this in Rock Out Loud Live or really any other software that doesn't have annotation in the way that Zoom does. So there's a great option for you there. We just have to publish that video because I messed up the recording a little bit, but it's still fine and I think it's still going to be useful for you and perfectly clear. So yeah, and then last bit of upcoming fun stuff is next week on the show because I wanted to let you know because it's going to be really fun and a little bit of a change of pace. So we've been doing a lot of pedagogy recently here on the show as our topic, and next week is going to be more into business and more into the life balance side of things, because we're going to be talking about planning for 2021. I think this is a really, really important thing to do right now, because so many of us are just saying, oh, I can't wait to get rid of 2020. But the thing is, 2021 is going to be the same unless we plan to make it better. Sorry, that's the truth. Yes, there might be a vaccine soon. Yes, things might get better, but really, we have to plan if we want changes. So that's going to be the topic next week, and it's also our penultimate show of 2020, because there'll be one more after that, and then it'll be the Christmas break already. Oh my gosh! So I hope that you'll be able to join me next week for that one. But today, we're talking about ear training, or playing by ear, or improvising, or arranging. Which one do we mean? Well, today I mean playing by ear, but I want to define what I'm talking about there, because when I think of ear training, I think of like drills. Is that what you guys think of too? Let me know. So I think of like fun ear training games that we have in VMT, as well as more dry drills where you're just playing an interval and asking a student whether it's a second or a third or major or minor or something like that, and just going over and over. I think of that as ear training or oral training or oral drills, ear drills, that kind of thing. Yes, drills are part of it, but not the whole of ear training. However, I think when most people talk about ear training, that's a lot of what they mean. Whereas, when we talk about playing by ear, what I mean is actually playing a song. So, a song or a piece, but most likely it's a song that you're figuring out by ear. Now, what's the difference between this and rote teaching? Rote teaching is not the same thing. When I'm teaching students to play by ear, I may give them help to find the correct notes, but I'm not demonstrating and having them copy from me. I don't call that playing by ear. I call that rote teaching. All these definitions might seem like just a bit fuddy-duddy and a bit, sticklery, but they do help you to digest all the information that comes at you on the internet, all the books and all the videos and everything. If you can understand these distinctions, and even if someone is using them differently, it still gives you a frame of reference. So that's why I wanted to define this up front. So, yeah, that's playing by ear, rote teaching, ear training. Then there's the idea of arranging and improvising. So arranging can be part of playing by ear because you figure out how to play a song by ear and then create your own arrangement. But you could also figure out how to play a song by ear and just play it exactly as that person played it, and that's different. So arranging is almost a next step, and it can be a next step that comes from that, or from a lead sheet, or from a song you play by rote. It could be from anywhere, right? To create your own arrangement of that. But it does often go hand in hand with playing by ear. And then lastly, improvising, that would just be the sprinkles that you add on top, but most likely it's also something you teach separately. Hope that helps define all of this. Let me know if any of that was unclear, or if I said a word that you didn't catch. Please ask us. You never have to shy away from saying, "Oh, am I supposed to know what that means?" No, we will never make you feel bad about that. If you don't ask, how will you learn? Teachers and students alike. Okay, so if you are going to teach a student to play by ear, you can run into some problems because some students take to this really naturally. And maybe you're one of those students. Let me know if you were one of those. Are you someone who just did this anyway, without being prompted very much? Did you just naturally gravitate towards this? Did you secretly, without your teacher's permission, figure out songs that you heard on the radio? I know a lot of teachers say that, and that they don't want their students to feel like they're hiding this skill, like they make sure to foster it in their students who have that tendency, and that's awesome. But you also need to help the students who are me growing up. And I would never have done that by myself. I would never have gone to the piano and tried to play something by ear. Too terrifying. Because I would get the wrong answer. That sounds so type A, doesn't it? I'm actually not like that, but with stuff like this, where it's so on display, doesn't it? Yeah. Me too, Laurie, for sure. And it wasn't just because like I was naturally a great reader, it was because the piano is in the middle of the dining room in my, house with at least 6, 7 people in it all the time. And I to just pick out some notes with everyone being older than you and probably knowing, or you feel like they know what the answer is before you do most of the time. No, too terrifying. Wasn't going to do it. So I would have needed a teacher to push me into it, and I didn't have that. So it wasn't until I hit my late teens, early 20s, and started to push myself into it that anything like that really happened for me. And you will have students like that too. But that does not mean that you shouldn't teach them to play this way. And I believe that you should push them a little. It doesn't have to be rough. It doesn't have to be insisting that everyone does extensive training in this. But you do need to push them a little bit kindly into learning to do these things. Some students will find this super uncomfortable. We're actually doing tons of this right now in my studio because we're doing a special theme, which is a measurement experiment. So I haven't mentioned it much publicly because I usually try these experiments in my studio and then see how they go and then tell you guys about them when we've learned from them. Not that I'm hiding them from you. If it falls on its face, I will tell you that as well. But I'm not going to put out advice about something that I'm not positive is going to work. But what we're doing is we're figuring out songs by ear and they're going to be creating mashups out of them. So when I have a process for it, I will tell you. My point, though, is that we're doing a lot of playing by ear because that's how they're figuring out these songs. And so I have a lot of experience right now with the students who they're so terrified to get the wrong answer that they won't even try. Or they find challenges, going back to this grittiness idea, they find challenges so easily challenging that it just isn't going to happen, right? Like, not it isn't going to happen, but without me there, they would not stick at it. They try like one note and then it's, oh my god, this is so hard. Like, literally, they've tried 2 things. So you will have students like that. And you need a process to be able to coach them through it. Yes, for sure. We've all had those students as well who catch on who like listen to the piece and just instantly memorize it. I almost call that a separate skill rather than playing by ear. It is connected, but the instant memorizers. Nice. And did it take you long if you hadn't played by ear up till then to play House of the Rising Sun? What's wrong with me? Sun. Yeah. It's interesting seeing different students' reactions to this. So, step 1 is to pick something to play by ear. Or step 0, let's call it. You need to pick what to play. So this can be with songs that students have chosen. That's what we're doing right now. So they're pop songs that students have picked out of some lists and they have been figuring those out. However, if you're going to go into this for the first time, for you and your students, pick a folk song. If they don't have any preferences, just do a folk song. Start there. That's what we do a lot of in the Piano Power Booster curricula. And that is a much easier starting spot. If this is all new to them, if they haven't been playing by ear, if they haven't even been doing oral echoes and stuff like that, this is going to be tough to do a pop song, especially at a younger age. So I would go with a folk song, but a pop song can work too. Either way, step 1 of actually starting is to find the first note. Now, if it's a pop song, you're going to want to take the extra step of choosing which bit to learn. Because, it's a 3-minute song. They're probably not going to learn the whole thing. And the most interesting part, or the catchiest part, might not be the start. So don't always start at the beginning. Listen to the song together in the lesson. Yes, it's okay to spend some lesson time listening to a song. Okay, you have my permission. And then pick the part of the song that you're going to learn. So pick it out. And this should be the student's preference in most cases. So if the intro is super cool, if you're talking about uh, another one bites the dust or something, you want the bass line in the intro. Like, that's the whole point of the song. But if it's something where the chorus is the bit they actually like and know, start with the chorus. Don't worry about starting at the beginning. With a folk song, you can start at the start because it's probably 8 bars long, so you'll be grand. Okay, and then you need them to find the starting note and the key. And this is where I say to them, almost to give them permission, I say, okay, so here's what's going to happen. We're going to listen to the song over and over, and you're going to just test random notes on the piano until you find the right one. We're going to have to do it a lot of time, and there's no way around it. We'll just be testing and experimenting. And then when a student is really hesitant beyond that, I'll say, just play anything. Like, you really sometimes have to coax them into just pressing. And some of them will think about it for ages in an attempt to come up with the right note before they play it. And I'm like, no, just try it. Anything that occurs to you, test them. Because otherwise they can get so focused on coming up with the right note. And there is a right answer, right? You're playing the thing that you're listening to. But it takes a lot of experimentation. Now, if a student is really going wildly wrong, I will at this point ask, okay, so is that a middle kind of sound? Is it a high sound? Is it a low sound? Or if they play a note, I'm saying, does that sound close to the one we heard or really far away from it? Because sometimes they can be going back and forth between D and D flat for ages when it's A, and you're just like, okay, does that sound close? Because they're miles away. So without intervening too much, you do need to give those little nudges in the right direction for sure. After that step, it's just about guiding them with questions. It's just about giving them those little hints in the right direction. Now, there's a bit of balance to find here as a teacher, where you have to wait a slightly uncomfortable length of time, just slightly too long, where you feel like, should I step in? When you feel like, should I step in? Give it about 5 more seconds, which will feel like an eternity, and then ask your next guiding question, which again can be, did it go up or down there? Is that a long note or a short note? Is it the same or is it different? If they're testing different notes and it's actually just one repeated note, things like that. If a student is still a bit more stuck than that, then I will start singing the note, because it's often easier for them to hear my voice singing it, even if I don't sing it particularly well, than in the track where there's everything else going on. So we'll either play the track over and over, or if I feel they need that extra nudge, I'll sing the next note. And some of them laugh directly at me, like they can be quite rude. But I am not easy to embarrass, so I'll just be singing, I'll be singing words. This is why they laugh at me, because I'm saying, is that note higher or lower? And, saying lots of things on the same note, which they find very funny to listen to and they think sounds ridiculous, but it helps. So after you've guided them with questions through it, either the melody or the bass line or whatever bit you've chosen to learn, then they just need to check it. Whatever section they've gotten, you play back the track and have them check their work. So they play along with it. By the way, earlier in the process, if they are going wildly wrong, that's another tactic you can try, where you play the track and they think they have the right starting note, and you play the track and tell them to play it at the same time as the note happens, and then they'll usually hear that it's not the right note. Some of them just want to stay on the white keys, they get that white key fever. They can't bear to go to a black key, so they're stuck there on A, and it's A flat. So, yeah. Any questions about that process, let me know. But it does take time, and it does take you being there and sitting there, even almost not doing very much a lot of the time, except you're listening very carefully and watching for that moment when they're going to get frustrated and making sure to step in before that happens. That's the balance you have to find in this process. But if you tell most students, 80% of students at least, if you tell them to go home and do this, and this is their first experience, they are not going to do it. It's too hard. No one will do that for you at home independently. It's just too hard. Nobody likes hard things. Even people who relish challenges, they relish the right level of challenge, and this is going to feel too much for them. Yeah, giving them multiple choice for the first note. I will say that if we're going to do a folk song, I'll normally tell them the starting note. I should have said that. So if we're not playing with a song that we're listening to, if we're playing a folk song they know, if we're playing Happy Birthday, I'll tell them the starting note because I want them to play in a particular key. And obviously we can play any song anywhere. Unless they have absolute pitch, and we're not dealing with that today. Unless you have questions about it that I can help with. But yeah, with a pop song, I normally make them find it unless they get really stuck, and then they'll find it. But the floundering, Kyle, I believe is a big part of the process. I believe that's how you get better. If you don't allow them to flounder, I think sometimes they can feel like they need you there always to be able to do this, and you will never increase the likelihood that they become the student who messes around and figures something out on the radio, with the radio. Not that every student needs to do that. That's not necessary, but I do want to increase that likelihood because I think it's a great thing to have, and it's a great way to spend their time exploring the piano, exploring music. Very good tip though, focusing on the lyrics. So singing along, playing along with the song to check that it's the same part of the song. The problem with the lyrics is if you're not doing the melody, which a lot of the time we're not. We're doing a bass line, we're doing a repeating ostinato, we're doing a chord pattern, and so that's where me singing ridiculous things helps a lot. Laura, what if the track you're listening to is in a key they can't manage? Just steer them away from that choice? No. Why can't they manage that key? They're not going to read it, Laura. So I don't think there is a key that they can't manage. G flat is super easy to play in. It's only sometimes challenging to read in. Or E major, or whatever key you've ended up in. They're all fine. They're just keys on a piano. They're going to memorize this. They're not going to read it. Which goes back to Laurie's question earlier. She asked, do I get students to write it down? It depends on the situation. She asked about letter names, writing it down in letter names. Depends on the situation. Sometimes I will write down a pattern of letter names for them in their assignment sheet, or they can write it down. But it depends. I would prefer that they memorize it straight away because I want them to memorize that eventually. However, if I think that there's no chance they're going to practice it without me doing that, or without me recording a little video of me playing it, or themselves playing it, that will happen, right? But that's a little bit more rote than it is actually playing by ear. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so I hope that answers your question, Laura and Laurie from earlier. And anyone else who has any questions about this topic, please do chime in. We're going to hop over to our web reviews and look at Dal's. Okay, so this is Dal's studio, and we're going to look around. If you haven't seen one of these web reviews before, what we're doing here is looking around the site, seeing if there's any advice we can give to help this teacher make their website better, make it work better for them. So this is Dal's studio. I really love this up the top. I think it has a bit of personality. It looks fun and kid friendly, in a good way. I'm not gone on this in terms of the styling of it. The words are fine, but I would prefer to see them a bit bigger and on top of the images possibly. I think the flipping images are grand. I'd say you could do with less of them. Some of them aren't great and some of them are really good. So I would just rethink some of them. You definitely want lots of smiling kids having fun. I love the ones of you playing games. But like this isn't showing up well. So maybe just refine that, cut it down to a few that all show up really, really well and showcase your studio in the best way possible. That one is great, for example. Now, I'm not sure about the Facebook Messenger in the corner. I know some teachers definitely get a lot of their leads, a lot of their potential new students on Facebook, and they deal a lot in Messenger in terms of inquiries and stuff. If that is you, maybe this is perfect. Maybe you should have it there because that's a focus of your marketing. If it's not, I would take that away. I think it's a bit distracting. And I also think you're sending them to a place you can't control. Like Facebook has changed their rules for businesses using Messenger at least 4 times in the last 2 years. So it's just a bit risky. Email is probably safer in terms of you knowing the law, the lay of the land, you know. No, I don't think Kerry is here, and Anna Marie. We accept these submissions in the Facebook group, so it doesn't necessarily mean they're here live. Now, so otherwise, I think the first impressions here are great. It's just that that's my only button. So if that's not your number one thing you want me to do, to chat to you on Facebook Messenger, then I would rethink that and add a big button telling me to email you or whatever, like get in touch with you some other way that you would prefer. You have to tell people what you want. So, music together online. I love that this is up to date, that you're teaching online and that that's reflected clearly without being, no, there's a pandemic, everything's online, unfortunately, you know, without being a big sad faced emoji. It's simple, but it's clear you are teaching online in those formats. I can schedule and register here. That's the question mark, is if that should be the button. Let's just go to the About page. So you see this stays up. Obviously I can minimize it. I didn't do that on purpose so that we could look at it. Yeah, looks good. Yeah, that would be my main question mark on this site, Kerry. Is that homepage, are you sure about the Facebook Messenger? And can you cut down the images so I'm more likely to see the best ones? But otherwise, I think absolutely fantastic job on that. Well done. Our second one we're looking at today is Branch Out Music. I like the style of this site right away. I think it looks simple and clean. However, this stock photo I'm not gone on. I would prefer to see a real photo of you or your student or something more personal. The buttons here could also be a bit bigger. And I wouldn't give me a choice. Does the enroll button go somewhere else? That's contact as well. Just make it one bigger button. Either contact or enroll. I don't need both. Maybe it should be this, book your lessons now. Again, that could be a lot bigger. I like the size of this font. Could you make the buttons that size and make them bold font? Everything else looks good, and we do have that call to action. It just needs to be bigger. Then, about you guys. Oh, weird little thing on websites. I would always recommend making the top menu item, if you do have a drop down menu. First of all, if you can avoid a drop down menu, do. You'll notice I have them on my site. They're often unavoidable on a larger site, but on a studio, I'm not sure they always are unavoidable. And it's much easier to navigate a site that just has 5 menu items and I just go there rather than dropping down because of mobile mostly, but also, like, even on a desktop, it's not super convenient. Anyway, even if you do have the drop downs, I would advise making that clickable. I can't click on About, so that should double up this link, in my view, to About Us. If I drop this down but then click there, it should go to the About page. Yeah, but everything here looks really, really good. Nice and simple menu structure. Yeah, those would be my question marks. I think everything else looks really good. I'm not sure about this being on its side, though. I would flip that or use a different image. But yeah, I think it looks clean and simple. Just maybe rethink the menu, have a bigger button, and make your buttons a little bit bolder. They don't need to be gaudy, but they do need to stand out. Alright, so that's our web reviews for today. Hope that's useful for you guys. Do let me know which segments of the show you enjoy the most, whether you like the chat today, which topics you want to see in the future, because obviously we'll be planning for 2021 soon and all of the chats coming up then. Before I let you go, please do like and subscribe to the channel. So like this video if you enjoyed it, if you found it valuable. Please do hit the like button. And if you want to join us again, we would love to see you back here. So make sure to subscribe to the channel for more ideas, tips, and the live show like this one here on YouTube. And then join me back here next week, okay? It's going to be about planning for 2021. So it's a really, really important topic. Something we all need to do, and I think we need to get it checked off the list early in December so that we can just enjoy the rest of the month and start to wind things down a little bit after we've planned out our next year or thought about, contemplated 2021 at least a little bit. And then, last reminder to join me for the send off. It's going to be so much fun, you guys. So go to vibrantmusicteaching.com/2020 and save that as a bookmark or save it to your home screen on your phone or something. You need to check it every single day so that you get the latest thing, because only that day will be open each and every day not in December, 1st to 25th. All right, thank you all so much for joining me. It's been a blast as always, and I will catch you next week. Bye, guys.